carve the planet, the seas are guide. Legends born where the waters conspire. Swells rising, whispers in the spray. The world turns, but we ride today. Ride the mystic wave, let it take you higher. Glen Polycher calls, the world's our empire. Salt in our veins, the surfs are quiet. Barrels twist, horizons bend. The sea's a stage with no end. Every crest, the tale we
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. In San Diego, police are responding to an active shooter at the Islamic Center of San Diego. Few details so far, but police say they do believe there are victims. President Trump says he is holding off on a military strike on Iran that had been planned for Tuesday. In a social media post, Trump says serious negotiations are underway, but did not offer details. He says he has instructed the U.S. military to, quote, be prepared to go forward with the full large-scale assault of Iran on a moment's notice in the event that an acceptable deal is not reached. Markets continued to gyrate over the situation. The price of Brent crude oil settled above $112 per barrel, but fell back below $109 after Trump's statement. A mixed finish for Wall Street. The S&P finished down about 0.1%. The Dow added 159 points, or about 0.3, while the Nasdaq fell 0.5%. The Trump administration's announced the creation of a $1.7 billion fund to pay Trump allies who say the Biden Justice Department mistreated them. Saka Magani has details.
The president's long said the previous administration targeted both him and his allies. The fund is part of a deal to resolve his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS over the leak of his tax returns. Earlier this year, the president said any potential damages might go to charity.
Nobody would care because it's going to go to numerous very good charities.
Instead,
Donald Trump is setting up a $1.7 billion political slush fund.
Jamie Raskin, other Democrats, and government watchdogs say they'll fight what they believe is a corrupt, unprecedented resolution, warning it will both enrich Trump allies with taxpayer dollars and lead to meritless political persecution claims. Sagar Magani, Washington.
This is AP News. Aaron Rai won his first major at the PGA Championship this weekend.
To be, a person that's the first one to have won it in such a long time from England is an amazing thing and something to be extremely proud of.
On Sunday, Rai became the first English-born golfer to win the PGA since Jim Barnes in 1919.
Extremely proud. There's a lot of incredible and historic English players over those 100 years who have gone on to achieve incredible things and had phenomenal careers.
The 31-year-old Rai is the first player of Indian heritage to win a major.
I'm very proud of India and Kenya as well. My mom grew up there, and my mom's side of the family lived there for a number of years before they moved to England.
Rai closed with a 5 under 65 for a 3-stroke victory over John Rahm and Alex Smalley. I'm Gethin Coolball.
There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
The clock strikes 6, the coffee brews. A dial tone sings, it's the morning news.
Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what, Peeling, I saw you in the comments. I had to start the show with you right there with that song because that's your jam, man. That is it. Hey, good morning, Marianas. It is Tuesday morning, 7:49 a.m. And we've got a pretty great show lined up for you today. We've got guests coming in. Well, they were going to come in. Then they're like, hey, I got stuff. Can we do a video? I'm like, yeah, we can do that. He also doesn't sound like that at all. We have Glenn Hunter coming on from the BPD, the Broadband PD. I'll tell you what, we're going to hear all about what's going on with broadband in the Marianas, the Broadband Policy Department. We're going to hear from them. And I'm excited to hear about it, too, because they just signed the whole BEAD subgrant, and now we're going to be moving forward, and we're going to be moving forward pretty quick. So we're going to see what's going on. But first, we can see all you guys that are out there in comment land. We'll say good morning to Eric Mofness. He says, good Tuesday morning, Brad, CNMI, and everyone listening in. Have a blessed and good day. It's a beautiful day. Take care. Stay safe, and God bless you and your family always. Same to you, Brad. Veteran brother, Eric Mofness. Peeling Gizmo. You heard his song just now. Says, good morning, Brother Brad, and to every beautiful people of the CNMI. Oh, yeah, that's right, baby. Luisa's out there. She's like, hello, everything. That's right. We'll take it. We will take it. Eldon De La Cruz, all the way out here from the mountains of Utah, saying, hey, good morning, Brad. Zantodo Stauto Marianas. Yeah, it's great to see you, too. Holy cow, I see him right there. It is the tip man from Dan, Tobak Castro, saying, buenas my entire beringas. Wait. Man, I cannot pronounce that. Beringuenas? Man, you guys got to help me out. I know where it is in my head, but all of a sudden there's a little tilde over the N next to the G, and now it's got me all screwed up. It totally threw me for a loop. Joaquin Telapeo says, hey, good morning with good news. That's right. We got good news, hopefully, today. Ignacio De La Cruz is out there saying, half a day, Brad. And good morning, CNMI. Great to see you, too. Frank Uggins in the house saying, good morning, Marianas. That's right. Well, man, we have a lot going on this morning. And we're going to give you guys some updates on everything. And we did a little bit of a deep dive about what's going on with all that eligibility things. I think he's going to be just fine. And now, my first glance at it was not, and now I'm starting to think that our candidate, who just announced the other day, is going to be good to go. But that's just from a little bit of that deep dive that we started doing it. I'm looking forward to hear more about it from the folks over at the Election Commission. But I think he's going to be fine. And now he said, I got it all figured out already. But it's because of a ruling in 2018 that kind of takes a little bit of the edge off of it, or provides they're a little bit more lenient based on the 2018 ruling. So we're going to find out about that in a bit. But at the top of the hour, we're going to have Glenn Hunter. No, not Glenn Polycare. I know you can dream. You can dream. But we're going to get Glenn Hunter instead of Glenn Polycare. One day we'll get that man, the myth, the legend, the weather guy. I know. Oh, my God. Louisa. She's so demure. There, we'll just start throwing randos out there. Does that sound like a plan? I'm telling you, my comment section is the best out there. Hey, if you want to get a hold of us during the show, you can. Give us a ring. Number is 670-789-2323. We put you right to air, baby. Get you right out there so we can hear what you have to say. And it doesn't have to be about, this, whatever this is. I mean, this is about what you want to talk about, too. And what are the issues that are going on with you? I mean, maybe I'm going to go out on a limb, say maybe it's power and water related. Maybe you don't like the idea of having to pay a higher FAC, or the idea of paying even more than that coming up soon. We got something else that just came out. Oh, man. He always sends this stuff. Oh, man. Like right when I do it, right when I get it, like I'm on the show. Hey, I'll take it, though. This is still fine. Let me open this up. When was the other one that you sent? Well, either way, let's open this up because I'm going to have to get this going. It's the call for justice and fairness. Just got this from Rep. Cobre. I love it, man. Now, You know, here's the cool thing about this job is that things happen, things change, they get there fast all the time. You just got to be ready to go with it. And I am. In fact, we should call him right now, but I got Glenn coming on in about 5 minutes. And, man, is that the number? We got a call coming in already. Somebody's calling my personal cell phone right now. The number that you're supposed to call is 789-2323. 1 second. I got to mute this one, though, for you. All right, there we go. That's more paperwork stuff to do, but that's good stuff too. Looks like I got some more work to do here too. All right, well, I'll tell you what, we've got all kinds of shenanigans happening out here, but it's good stuff. And we are just a couple minutes away from reaching out to our rep from Precinct 1, Cobra Eldon, who has this new thing. Hold on, let me just do this real quick. All right. Yeah, so normally I would just throw you guys to a commercial or something, and I guess I could do that. But I just wanted to try to get this stuff done at the same time because I'm all into knocking this stuff out. Hey, real quick, watch when he drinks his coffee. Pinky's up. Oh, you bastards. You bastards. You're out there. Now I'm going to be so focused on making sure I don't have a pinky up. There's no way. There's no way. All right, here we go. Let's get this one out there. Just got this. It's screaming off the presses. And let me make sure I could get it on the screen for you. Here it is. This is from, sorry, Glenn, you're going to have to wait a minute. From Cobra Eldon, our representative from Precinct 1. This is, oh, man. We got the call coming in. Hoffa on Road, thanks for calling the show. Who's this?
This is Peeling.
Peeling! Gizmo! Hotter than the radio!
Good morning, good morning.
Good
morning from Guam.
How are you, my friend?
Hey, we're like heading on the right direction. We have 3 roosters for governor and 3 roosters for the governor. So we have the option. We have an option now. So they're all good. So they're all good, but at least we have options now. No.
Yeah.
That's one of the good news for this morning. But I have three news that I want to share.
Okay.
The other news is with our Congresswoman Kimberly King Hines, who just found funding for Fish and Wildlife. I just want to ask her, how's the deer doing in Pagan? No? We want to know. We had this conversation way back during the general election, and we never got the answer for Fish and Wildlife, and we want to know if if the deer is multiplying or it's already turned into a dog. Oh, only that. And other thing, hey, Brad, my daughter and my daughter-in-law are the ones sending out items that people need down there. You know, like the fans, generator, and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley Ogun is my son's common law wife.
Wow.
And my daughter, Crystal. My daughter, Crystal, is the one that Tavian Dame Tenorio. You know, they've been working hard, helping people down there. It's not only family, it's not only friends, it's also anybody that needs help. So they've been going out of their way. This guy, I think, have more friends than me now. They've been working very hard. Yeah. But another thing like that, I want to share to there's like not a lot, a few people that request help, you know, and they ask if they can check up for this item, that item, and they went out of their way. And when they find the item, and the people that requested never responded back, you know, we're happy to help. But if you're going to play around, that's not a joke. Because anything can happen on the road, you know. They can get into an accident, and, you know, because they had a good heart. They had a good intention to go out there and look for what you're asking. But if you're doing it, you know, not with bad intention, please, my people, don't do that. You're hurting your own fellow citizens. We're all from Sinamay. I am. My kids are all born there in the Sinamay. They're from Saipan. Please don't do that. You guys need to stop that. Don't. If you're doing it because of a political party, don't do it. Because what they're doing, they're not looking at anybody with who you're voting and who you're not voting. They're out there willing to help. So please, don't do that. Be nice. Be hot and sexy. You know, be understanding. Don't do that. You know, because when you do that, you're not hot and sexy. You're ugly and stupid. Yeah. Don't do it. Yeah.
I love it.
I beg you back. Yeah. But from my heart to everybody's heart, especially your heart, no, Brad, maybe your wife listening, Brad, watch out. See, feeling like have a feeling for you. But with the biggest loving heart from here in Guam, you know, where we're from Sinamay, but big loving heart extends back home. I love you all, and have a beautiful day.
Hey, we love you too. I hope everything's down great over there in Guam, and hope everything's great with the family too. And it's great to see that you guys have so many folks over there just really working to try to help people get the stuff that they need. You guys are doing great stuff.
Yeah. But they need to stop that one. Hey, can you go and look for this? And then when we find it, and okay, and they no more respond. And we keep trying, we keep calling. We're calling their cell phone number. We're doing messaging. We're going WhatsApp. And no, they don't want to answer anymore. After we went and looked for what they're asking, so they need to stop that. Don't do that. You're putting them in danger. We're willing to go out our way, but please, if it's a bad intention, don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with love, anyway, with love, they will learn. They will learn to love. Everybody always love one another. Yeah. unless like some maybe no heart. If no heart, yeah, how can you love? But guarantee, it's gonna feel love because it has a heart, heart like feeling. You know?
That's right.
Okay, my brother. Yeah, see you, my people. I love you all, and please follow up the deer and talkers because I'm feeling kind of sad because I never hear from the deer.
Yeah.
That's all. I love you guys. Have a good day, Brad.
You too. All right. Take care, Piling. Have a great day. All right. That's Piling Gazetmo. Oh, man, that guy never fails. He entertains every single time. All right. Hey, we're going to reach out because it is that time. We do have that meeting planned. And so we're going to hop on and reach out all the way up to Capitol Hill. They're already waiting for us. Oh, no. Darn it. Hold on. Wait 1 second. I got to switch cameras stuff here. Give me 1 quick second for this one. I'll get it all squared away. He's this is so funny. We have this camera change. Padoom. That should take care of it. Bam. Whenever I open up that other app, and so now we're over there. He should be able to hear us. Let me make sure I send this up. I know. You can laugh. I changed colors again because it's got the other camera all linked up. You know what? Nobody needs to see me on there anyway, so let me just do this and get him on here so we can actually hear him, though. This shouldn't change the colors at all. There you go. Can you hear us? It looks like I got the big thumbs up. All right, all the way from Capitol Hill, paying long distance to be here with us today. We've got Glenn Hunter, the man, the myth, the legend from BPD, all the way up on Capitol Hill. Glenn, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brad. Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, thanks for being here today. I know that you've got a lot going on because we've been paying attention to it. And you had the big signing that just happened last week to make it official. Like we're going to get like real high-speed stuff all of a sudden again.
Yeah, correct. It is a big occasion for the CNMI. We did just have the subgrant signing. It was a long time coming. This feels like it's been 40 years, but it's been about almost 4 years in the making, just getting to this point. And just to let all the viewers know, what we're talking about is the BEAD program funding that we received from the federal government to ensure that every single person in the nation has access to high-speed, reliable broadband connectivity. And so that was the initial program. It was part of the IIJA, the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, a while back. But good morning, Brad. You're looking good in the studio. It looks like you might have power at home.
Yeah, if we were at home, I don't have power at the house. I can tell you that for sure. But we have it here at the studio, and boy, I'll tell you, I thought we were so close. I thought we were so close, and maybe it's going to be a little bit longer for us at the house. The lines right out in front of our house have power. But getting that power to our line to the house might take a little bit longer than we had anticipated. So a little bit of a bummer on that one, but hey, that's just it. So I've got our DeWalt fan that we can just plug those batteries into at night. And then we got those solar lights that we're able to bring in. By the way, those solar lights brighten up that whole house like you wouldn't believe. So at least, we're not fumbling around in the dark. It's pretty good.
Yeah, those might become a permanent fixture for us at our house right now, just because of the cost of utilities going up. So I might never get rid of the solar lights and the solar fans and the solar stuff that we all have running. We're now on, I think it's like day 35 or day 36. I'm kind of getting accustomed to not having power. The water's still iffy, but the power, maybe we'll just get used to it, and we'll just do barbecues. We'll have Google Meets, Brad. It'll tie into what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, we'll throw some Google Meets on the Google Grill, and it'll be good. The only thing is that I'm still not getting used to cold showers. I could do it after like a hot day or getting all sweaty. In the morning though, taking that cold shower, woo!
I love cold showers. I've always taken cold showers. It's cold showers, no air conditioner, no fan. So like at least that part of it isn't a heavy lift for me. The big thing is refrigerator. I'm a food person, and not having a refrigerator kills me. I can't, the fridge and freezer. I almost want to get a generator just for the fridge and freezer, and it might be worth paying the $50 a day for gas just to keep that damn fridge on.
That answer is no. The $50 a day, that's not awesome. We have a generator, and we run it for a few hours every night, like when we get home. A little bit of TV to feel a little bit normal with the family. With the we can run the washer, not the dryer. We're not that cool. But then the washer, you got some lights on. You can have some music going. Charge the all the stuff. You get the interwebs. You name it. Everything's going with the Wi-Fi. But not a hot water heater. That thing takes all kinds of power. So I guess our power usage would be down. So if we end up getting CUC back 1 year this year, then we'll get back to it, and I'll probably be back on the hot water train. But man, yeah, those rates, I'm a little bit scared. I'm kind of okay with not having it just yet.
Maybe there's a business opportunity there, Brad. We can do a Saipan onsen, those community bathing houses, so you can get your hot shower and your hot bath for maybe like $2 or something. You just walk up the street. They give you a little towel, like in Japan. You get your own private locker room. You go in the back and you do your little onsen thing, and it'll just be a community shower. Everybody contributes to warming the water.
Yeah, we'll call it Caesar sauna, and it'll be fine. Hey, so
oh boy, we're so off subject, aren't we?
A little bit.
I haven't talked to you in some time, but you did say interweb, so that brings us back on track, right?
Yeah, we got off track so fast off the information superhighway. I can't believe people used to call it that. Anyway, but we are talking about the broadband that's coming out here, and there's all kinds of questions about all this. I know it's not like happening like overnight. It takes a while. We've had conversations about it. So let's remind everybody, let's kind of bring everybody back up to speed about, what this whole BEAD subgrant is and everything.
Sure. So the like I said, the project kicked off almost 4 years ago. It was a passion project of our former governor, and it was carried on by the current governor. And the goal basically when we were formed was to form an office that was going to, number one, just access federal funding to ensure that we could fund a really robust and reliable high-speed broadband network across the CNMI. And so this focuses in on what we're able to do is initially take a $25 million allotment, and with a little bit of negotiation between us and the feds, we were able to get it up to, the allotment came out to $81 million, which we thought at the time was still going to be shy of what we needed to build a true, reliable, robust broadband network to. At the time, it was a little over 10,000 broadband serviceable locations. And just so everybody knows, the acronym's BSLs, so you might hear that floating around as we move forward, because that's going to be one of the milestone indicators. So the first step we did was to try and identify all the BSLs, and the NTIA, the funding agency, worked closely with the FCC. They have a broadband availability map, and we just needed to clean it up. So one of the first things we did about 3 years ago is launched a challenge portal for all the ISPs and all the people in that industry to just kind of get online and ensure that the FCC data was clean. It's all generated from ISPs anyway, their reports and their uploads. And so we got through that hurdle. And then the next thing we wanted to do was just ensure that every single home and business in the CNMI that was on that map and contained within that data set, that the federal government recognized it as unserved or underserved at the time, so that way we could put funding towards connecting them. That was a big hurdle. We're so geographically distant from the United States, and we do have ISPs out here that are providing good service. But what we wanted is we wanted to ensure that we had connectivity that matched the statutory minimum at the time. It was 100 megabits down and 20 megabits up with a latency of less than 100 milliseconds. And we all know, those are kind of figures that are hard to obtain, at least especially 4 years ago. Today, things have progressed, things have gotten a lot better, but we're still not there. And so, and then the one thing that we also notice is some of the technologies that are available to bring us some better speeds maybe are not as reliable as they could be. And we're feeling that effect right now. Like, on a serious note, I mean, everybody walked outside of your house on that like Wednesday or Tuesday morning, depending on how risky you were, after the storm passed, and saw, the lines on the ground. And if anybody had any type of satellite antenna up, that probably went down. A lot of the wireless transmission devices, those were affected. And so the one thing, like the one thing that the former governor, the late Governor Palacios, really drilled into me was how the resiliency of this infrastructure that we're going to use federal dollars to build. And so in our mind, the best thing was putting it underground. And if you're going to bury something, there is buried networks already. One of the ISPs has had copper under the ground for as long as we can remember. And when we went through Typhoon Kim back in the day, thankfully that copper network allowed our landlines to work back then. That's how old I am. But and so it's applying that same mentality, right? Like, it would be so much more refreshing if our lines weren't as drastically impacted, or our network wasn't as drastically impacted by these common occurrences of the super typhoons that we're getting hit with. And so we moved towards just ensuring that the network that was going to be funded was going to be extremely reliable, and that meant underground. And in today's world, if you're going to bury a broadband technology, the technology to use is fiber. It would make no sense to bury anything else. And so we were able to get the $81 million funding, able to keep all of the broadband serviceable locations fundable. And then we were able to launch a sub-grant phase where we invited anyone that was qualified for delivering broadband service to kind of apply. And they all submitted their sub-grant applications. We chopped up the CNMI into 20 project funded areas to allow for better competition, or the hope was there. And then we were able to get applications from various providers. And when we reviewed them, we were able to come up with 3 applicants that provided us with underground fiber applications. So that was a big thing. That meant there was some competitiveness to the sub-grant process. And then at the end of the day, we had to select the one that was the best bargain. Trump and his administration had come up with a new shift in the program to go with the best bargain and just put aside every other metric that we were going to use prior to that. It wasn't going to be solely based just on the best priced application. It was going to factor in different things like the affordability aspect. We had a metric for that. We had a metric for how quickly it could be deployed. That gave them a few more points. At the end of the day, the new presidential administration decided, hey, it's been a long time coming. Let's cut to the chase. Let's rerun all the sub-grant phases, and let's just choose the lowest cost priority broadband application for each state and territory. And I highlight priority because that was a big factor. The federal government really focuses in on giving the states and territories a little bit more power when it comes to things, these sensitive issues of legislation and law. At least it seems that way with this administration. And what they did is, instead of dictating what technology was best for each state or territory, what they did was they left it in the hands of the state and territory and the eligible entity that was overseeing this funding opportunity. And so on our side, we definitely put a heavy impact on reliability and resilience. And so that's what kind of lifted out of all the applications. We had the 3 to a priority level because those were the 3 buried applications. And so after we selected and the best bargain out of the 3, we went ahead and moved forward with getting the sub-grant, which is basically the sub-grant agreement or the contract, hammered out. And so that took a little bit of time. We also had to get an approval from the NTIA at various levels. And on November 26th of last year, we were given full green light by the NTIA for our selection, the process, all the work leading up to the 3.5 years. And so that was one of the milestones. And then after that point, this is the next milestone. As of May 13th, we were able to to solidify and execute the sub-grant agreement for all of the 20 project areas. And so with that being said, we now move on. We really transition away from that whole planning, that 3.5 years of planning and getting all the details done, to now the permitting and the actual deployment, getting the micro trenching done, getting the fiber in the ground, and getting each of these homes and businesses lit up with end-to-end fiber to everybody's home. The reason why this will be a big game changer is what it does is it really focuses and sets a real stable foundation for future development. Because once you have a network of fiber underground through all the homes and businesses on the island, that can be built off of. So that'll help. I know some of the areas like in Rhoda, especially, they had some, places where their mobile service didn't have coverage. And what people, while the BEAD program doesn't address specifically the cellular or the mobile coverage, what it does is creates a stable foundation, a digital foundation that can be built off of. So where this fiber goes, you can put up towers so much easier. And so that's one of the challenges with mobile providers, right? Is how do you backhaul the signal to those towers to get it out to the mobile customers? And so what this network will do is you'll have fiber going across all of the 3 main islands underground that can be tapped for not just mobile service, but all these Internet of Things type devices. So our Department of Public Works might, tap into it through the ISPs for street light programs and all these different things, security cameras, stuff of that nature. So what it does is it just opens up a plethora of different opportunities, both from a government perspective, but then even from an entrepreneurial perspective, right? And so that's kind of where we stand today. Is we're aggressively working on the permitting right now to get that through. The federal government has really streamlined all of the processes involved in the permitting from a federal standpoint. And so we've been working closely with them. They have a lot of tools that they've made available to us. And the subgrantee has a project management and staffing that's very familiar with doing this type of work out here. So we're hopeful we'll be able to move quickly forward with deployment, and maybe even get like the first broadband serviceable locations lit up. You never know, it could even be before the end of the year. There is a statutory limit. All deployment has to be done within 4 years. The truth is we do anticipate it being done well before that. But there is a set time frame. The federal government gave us a hard stop at 4 years.
That's got to be one of the things that, so it's good that you can get that done before the 4 years, but that had to be something that was on your mind when there was a little bit of delay moving into it at the beginning. I know that there was, there was 3 different groups who made a bid at it, and then at the end of it, there was someone saying, "Hey, let's toe drag on this. We have a better one." And then you guys ultimately went with the one that you just signed last week. So as long as we don't have to wait now, as long as we'll be able to beat that 4-year deadline, I think we're going to be in good shape.
Correct. Yeah. And the 4-year deadline for the subgrantee actually began the day we signed. And so, that's a benefit for them. It was for the Commonwealth more than anything. So what we've been doing with the broadband office is this has been a focus, like a major focus, and we have the luxury. So that's the one thing I've been telling people all along. Like, some people have congratulated BPD on, the getting to this point and everything. But the truth is, it's the focus. We have a broadband office that has one main focus. That's to get everybody access to broadband network and beyond that. So once we have the access, then we got to look at how do they use that network? How do we keep people safe on that network? How do we expand the use cases of that network? And so that's what our office will start transitioning to as well as we move forward. But at its base, we really needed a stable infrastructure, one that could sustain, through these storms that are coming up so much, so regularly. You talked about the delays we encountered. It was I'm not going to lie, it was frustrating. But I do believe everybody in this community, especially right now, while we're in this recovery period, can now look back in hindsight and see just how important it is for reliability to be paramount on everything, on how we build buildings, on how we build water systems, on how we build utility systems for power and for communications. And so hopefully going forward, that really, like, we got to apply a little bit of pressure to the federal government. It wasn't just a push from the local competitors out here, Brad. There really was, even at a national level, a push to really go with just the bare bones, cheapest technology possible to get that bare minimum of 100 down and 20 up. And I don't think that would be a good use of the federal funding. Like, it really wouldn't. There's no sense in putting something on a pole that we know 100% will be down in the next 3 to 5 years when the next storm comes by, or even more frequently. It just doesn't make sense. It's not a good use of federal taxpayer money. It's not a good use of any kind of money. And so the truth is, I think we need to apply that logic and that mindset to everything we do, from a government perspective. When we look to getting these grants to build these things, and we're seeing it. We look at NMC, that building held up tremendously through this storm, at least as far as I could tell. I didn't get on the inside of it, but just building structures and building things that can stand the test of time from an island perspective. And so we look at the havoc that it's wreaked on our utility, like our power system and our water system. This is the 5th time, I think, in like 12 years that they're going through like a major recovery and repair. And it really, like, at some point, somebody just has to say, was it Einstein or was it Frankenstein? Somebody said, like, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, you're crazy. And we all need to stop. This is the time. Like, we just got to stop. Yes, there's a rush to get people connected, right? There's a rush to get people back on the grid. That's so important. But let's also turn to the federal government, turn to everybody. Let's get everybody connected as quickly as they can, but let's immediately start looking at not just cement poles. Let's really seriously consider, how do you start a phased out progress of burying the utility system, the power system, all of it, just so we don't spend $14,000 on a pole every time a storm comes by. And I know it's hard, and I make it sound easy, and it isn't easy. It is a heavy lift. I talked with somebody in Guam maybe 4 years ago, and she had told me it's going to cost $6 billion for them to do utility underground, but she was going to go seek the funding. And now that might have ballooned to 12 billion, and they're still trying to seek the funding. But again, I'm off on a tangent.
No.
I'll give the mic back to you, Brad. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Hey, this is my show. I can take it back anytime I want. Let's clear that up right now. All right. Yeah. But with this, though, I know what this thing is. That was my diplomatic way of talking about a delay. But basically, it was about, people put in bids, and then someone put in another bid that was a little bit lower, a considerable amount lower. And it was going to be, again, pole-to-pole kind of deployment for that kind of stuff. They said, hey, this counts. This is okay. And, hey, I guess if we were starting from scratch and we had nothing and we only had our own funds, spending about $1 million sounds like a pretty good deal. But for what we've got, what our infrastructure is now, and having the ability to get that, it really was in the best interest of the Commonwealth. It didn't matter the company name, so they're like, oh, you're just a cheerleading. Yeah, I know, I am. But like, if just the underground storm resilient model was the one that we needed to go with, period. Then I can dance around, talk about who it was. It doesn't matter. But I mean, the thing is that just wasn't the best plan for the Commonwealth, and this one is. And so, and there was a lot of folks working behind the scenes to try to even get that one through. But that's not going to be the main thing. But either way, the CNMI got the best possible thing that we could have gotten out of the whole thing. It's a company that's based out of here, which is great too. And now we got the clock's ticking, 4 years less than now to get this stuff put in. And so now,
I agree with you. Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind too, Brad. Like I said, when we went into this, we knew we were wanting the Rolls Royce of networks, right? Mm-hmm. And in saying that, we did do research, right? I looked around. It was like, we really believed it was going to cost more than $100 million. It was going to be more than $10,000 per passing to get this done. And when you look at other BEAD subgrants across the nation right now that are being hammered out, or some of the preliminary subgrant awardees, and you look at anything that's fiber, even the fiber hung on poles in other states, their per passing costs or their cost per connecting one BSL is in excess of $10,000. We were able to do it out here from our standpoint for about $3,000 per location, which is like nobody's been able to. I ended up getting into a debate with a federal official at one time, Brad, between you and me. I was sitting down and he just said, because we were talking about just demanding or trying our best to make sure that this network's going to be underground. And they just kept saying, there's no way you're going to be able to do it for less than $22,000 per home. And I said, well, can you at least step back and let me try? You know what I mean? I said, I'm not asking for funding. I'm not asking for any even advocacy at this point. All I'm asking for you in your federal position is to step back and not be a hindrance to us moving forward with attempting to do this. Because in life, like Brad, the one thing I notice is there's so many people that come forward. Like when I say even electrical systems put underground, you end up with the naysayers saying it can't be done. That can't be done. There's no way. The funding's too high, yada, yada, yada. I really just want to tell everyone, honestly, anything is really possible if you have like a passion and you have the ability to share with people that can help you what you're after. I mean, we're seeing it today with the recovery, right? Like we see it every time after a storm. A few people get together and they say, hey, we got to help people. We got to get water out to people. We got to get medical out to people. We got to help people. And it works. Like it works. Like anywhere else, people are like hands up in the air. Well, tough crap. We're waiting for the government. This is not going to happen. And they sit there and they complain and they whine. Well, hell, like honestly, if you just put your focus in on it and you just tell yourself like, yes, there's going to be protests. Yes, there's going to be, stumbling blocks along the way. But doing something like a solar farm out here, I've been to other islands. I mean, hell, just south, they got, I want to say 60 megawatt solar farm and a 30 some megawatt solar farm and 25 megawatts being generated from net metering just 100 miles south of us. So these are things, I just want to let everybody watching and everybody know sometimes it can get frustrating, right? Hearing somebody say what's possible when you're in the thick of it and you think it's impossible because it has, the status quo is so entrenched. And I just want to tell people, if you really have a passion and you really think there's a path forward, stick to it. You're going to get no's, you're going to get pushback, you're going to get people calling you corrupt and being labeled ignorant and dumb. I was muzzled while that happened to me. I didn't care. I just kept my focus. You called me asking for some feedback to some of the accusations that were being leveled at me. There were emails that were taken out of context and fabricated. I couldn't say anything, and you know what? I didn't even care. My goal was simple. My focus was set. I asked the governor. He said, "Stick with what you're doing and move forward. We need resiliency." And that's all I needed was the assurance from the administration that this is what they wanted and the power and the support to move forward with it. And they all, came behind me and pushed us along. The whole office pushed us along. So this is a win for the CNMI. This is a win for the administration. This is a win for the BPD. This is a win for everybody. And it's because when you have that mindset and when you have that support, that political will and that passion, honestly, almost anything can be done. I mean, we're a testament to it. The CNMI is a testament to it. We're one of the only territories where we've had a plebiscite to determine our fate. We have people out here that when they're focused and when their mind is set right, can accomplish anything. And I really believe that. What's Paulo Ligero said, like, yeah, it's impossible. Therefore, it'll take a little bit longer. And I really believe that. And we need to apply that to everything that we deal with today. But I'm sorry, again, man, Brad, I haven't talked to you in forever. So you put a mic in front of me and you put you in front of me like this. And I think I can't shut the hell up when I need to.
Nice. I love it. Hey, no, that's a good thing. I'm glad to be able to chat you up again and hear about this stuff. Hey, let's talk about some of the bones of this thing. So we got, this is going to bring broadband fiber to everybody's house and every business and everything. And I was trying to explain it to one of my friends. They're like, well, I mean, how does that? I'm like, look, think of it this way. I think that this is something that the federal government is looking at it, and this is just a different type of infrastructure. Right now, we're used to that being a phone company or giving people an option of something to buy, right? And so now it's like, hey, everybody needs to have water. or power. And now it's about being able to have a high capacity way of moving information to and from your house or your business. And then you sign up for it and it's up to you, right? I mean, that's essentially what this is?
Correct. Yeah. So what we've done is so there've been other federal programs to try and get broadband, and there are still a ton of different federal programs to try and subsidize getting broadband to homes, especially really rural or remote homes. So the USDA, now the Department of Commerce through the NTIA, DOI, all different types of federal entities have provided funding, and traditionally it's normally done like directly to the ISPs, the providers of internet and broadband connectivity. And so what they do is they go out and they apply and they get a minimal amount of grant funding to try and get service out to maybe a remote location. What the federal government did with this BEAD program is instead they decided, okay, we know there are a ton of people that just still don't have access to broadband. Let's just try and cure this once and for all. And so they labeled it Internet for All. They had a big goal: universal connectivity, making sure that every single American and every single person in the United States that wants to access broadband can. And so that was the goal. That's the win. If we can do that, we won. Now, whether or not anyone subscribes to it, that's a whole different animal, right? Like that's going to depend on each person's want, and that's fine. That's the way it should be in the world, right? If you want service, the one thing that this program is going to do is when we're done with the BEAD program, and this is specific to just the BEAD program, anybody in the CNMI that has a home or business is going to be able to pick up the phone and call a provider to get service within 10 days at no additional cost to them. So that's the big thing. Because it's a federal funded opportunity for the subgrantee, that's going to reduce their capital outlay that they would have to usually put out themselves. In this case, it's reducing it by about 60%. So hopefully that'll translate into more affordable service as well. The other thing is because we are subsidizing a fiber network, the one thing that's big on fiber that a lot of people might know is it's passive. And so from a technical standpoint, what that means to the consumers is, like right now would be a prime example. You might have power at your house. You might be one of the lucky people that got power back at your house. But if you had some technologies, even if you have power at your house and your provider has power at his house, if power is out along the way and on the route going to your house, you still wouldn't have connectivity. And so with fiber, what that does is you don't need to provide power along the route. So as long as your hub, the provider that you had has power, and as long as your house has power, whether that's a generator, whether that's CEC power, as long as you have some type of power on your device or a little battery backup for your ONU, you can have high-speed internet connectivity. A bigger thing is that reduces the power costs to the ISP. Again, that'll translate hopefully into lower costs for the consumer as well. And so these are all the hopes. We did have, there is a stipulation that even though the Trump administration pulled out some of the affordability requirements, they still will have to offer a low-cost service option as well. And so for anybody out there in the community where affordability is still not there after this network is deployed, there will be low-cost service options available. And those low-cost service options will still have to provide you with true broadband service, 100 down, 20 up. So those are things to keep in mind once this is all done.
So it'll still be there, but there's no guarantee on like what that per month thing is going to be.
We had that baked in to our subgrant process prior to the new administration taking over. They had a different mindset, and honestly, it's six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Their mindset is they don't believe that the federal government or the local government has the right to rate regulate when it comes to broadband. And that's a different fight that can go on. Like at a local level, nothing prevents us from looking at that if that becomes an issue. I really believe when you subsidize this network of this size to every single household, it's gonna translate into much better pricing. We've seen it elsewhere. If you go to some of the states now, the cost of their broadband service is ridiculously low for the speeds that you get. Heck, you can even, if you go south, you find that their broadband services, I think they're offering 1 gig symmetrical now for like $60 or $70.
Wow.
I mean, it's just, it factors in, right? If you can get the technology out there and it's properly laid, it's a no-brainer. The costs are going to come down and it'll be more affordable. Some people have asked, does the government own this network? No, that's not the type of system we're after. I never intended that. I never wanted that. I know some of the other states and territories were looking at that option. Hey, can we take this BEAD funding and can we set up a CUC for telecommunications? And all I thought in the back of my mind was that seems a little bit ass backwards, excuse my French, or just going back in time to a point where government controlled telecommunications. And the liberation of that actually, I think, has reduced prices and has spurred better technology and faster speeds. And so the one thing that this program does is it's kind of a pseudo. So you got the broadband office acting as the eligible entity, the person who gets the 81 million, and then we subgrant it out as if we were the federal government. So we become in a joint relationship with the NTIA to granting it out to somebody. And now what that does is it allows every state and territory to oversee how those grant funds are used in the deployment. And to also, that's the other thing that the broadband office does going forward. We become the watchdog. We're got to set up a bunch of subgrant monitoring solutions to ensure that the subgrantee really is moving forward at the pace that they're supposed to, and they're delivering the service that they've promised. And so that's kind of how this system works. But at the end of the day, it still is the subgrantees network. And there is a federal interest on it for 10 years. So for 10 years, if at any point, that's the other thing that's baked into our subgrant with them through the NTIA, and it's a clawback provision. So if at any point they don't live up to the terms in the subgrant agreement and the terms stipulated, we and the federal government can move in and seize the assets and pull back all the funding that we got. And so that's baked into it as well. And so it's kind of a safeguard that maybe doesn't exist under other programs. You've seen other grants where people maybe have received federal or local funding to do something and it never comes to fruition, and everybody just kind of throws their hands up in the air and says, well, they tried, they made their best effort. The truth is that's not how this program's set up. It's a very strict subgrant monitoring situation going forward that's going to be overseen by the NTIA and us to ensure that this actually gets developed in the time that it's supposed to.
Well, that's great. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, oh man, if you can make sure, I know it's got to go to every business, it's got to go to every home and everything like that. If you can make it go to every sporting facility so that if we set up over there, we can have high-speed broadcast of whatever's going on in that spot, it would be awesome. I know it's just...
Absolutely.
It's a little after the fact, but that would be...
No. But as you're saying that, that's the whole point. So if you got a few seconds, I can pull up a map of our islands and show you exactly where this fiber is going to be run to. And if you have a sporting event that's built in the future, you're probably going to be built right by where the fiber is. And the big thing about fiber is you just call up by the subgrantee and you say, hey, I want to tap into that fiber for this new sporting facility or this outdoor sporting complex. And they can apply all kinds of technologies at that point. They could put up wireless stuff at stadiums or at ballparks. But let me just show you this real quick. Just a rough one, just to kind of give everybody an idea of the scope of this project. Let's see if this works. I'm learning. Let's see. Do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
But hold on. I got to
so this
change.
is just
Nobody else can. Hold on, I gotta check.
Yeah, that's fine. Just me and you. This is private. No, I'm just kidding. There you go.
No, because I have us on the split screen. Just give me 1 second as I readjust. Open this up here. So now
what the audience is going to see, or the listeners are going to see, is basically just an overview of the three Saipantinian and Rota and the broadband serviceable locations. We did not overlook the Northern Islands. That is near and dear to our heart. We are limited, just so everybody knows, because this was a concern that came up way early on. As I told you, when we moved forward with this project, the data that defines the broadband serviceable locations came from the FCC's maps. The FCC maps data comes from the providers who input information, and so primarily. And so because of that, the reality was in the Northern Islands, there was no broadband serviceable location defined by the FCC. And so because of it, and we at the eligible entity, we were allowed to remove serviceable locations from the map, meaning they were destroyed or they don't exist, but we were never allowed to add locations in. And so because of that, what we did to address the Northern Islands was we worked closely with the Northern Island Mayor's Office and helped them secure a grant to get funding for satellite technology up there. And so hopefully they've moved forward. We also, on a personal level, some of us have contributed some satellite devices to run up to them so that they could get satellite. That's another factor. I think I didn't touch on that earlier, Brad, but before I go into the map, is one of the other things is satellite technology. So when we first went into this 4 years ago, Starlink wasn't Starlink and other LEO providers, low Earth orbit providers that provide broadband at a reasonable cost to consumers, wasn't officially allowed available in our area. So if you put in your address out here, it would say, your coverage is coming soon or not available in your area. And so there were workarounds. Some people would purchase the equipment in the States and then put it in a roaming mode and then use it out here, but that would be at a hefty cost. I think you get reduced speeds and you'd pay in the neighborhood of about $250 a month. So it was reasonable for some of the very remote areas, but it wasn't something that everybody could access. And so one thing our office also did was initiate communications with the LEO providers, government relations people. And we told them, look, hey, and honestly, at the time, it was an easy lift because it was just ignorance, and it wasn't meaning stupidity or anything. It's just ignorance. They felt, because of some of the pushback they were getting in some of the Pacific Islands out here with spectrum use and spectrum licensing, that they needed to secure licensing for the CNMI. And the truth is, we're part of the United States when it comes to that point. And so if they have licensing for the United States, they have licensing for us. And so they just did a couple changes on their website, and they opened up official accessibility for us. I want to say 2 Novembers ago. So that was a big change out in our market here. Was some of the LEO providers, the low Earth orbit satellite providers, officially are available now. And some people, while I was getting kicked and being muzzled at the same time, have called me anti-satellite. That's not the case. I think, and my opinion has always been very clear, we need all technologies. I'm a big proponent of wireless technologies. I'm a big proponent of satellite technologies. I think from a federal funding standpoint, if you have $81 million, you build the Rolls Royce of the fiber network, and you ensure that you still have access to all these other technologies to build on top of it, especially for resiliency. Like right now, I know a lot of people have thrown little dishes on top of their house and are getting internet service right now through LEO providers. I think that's a great thing. I think it should always be there. For a couple $100, you could have hardware in your closet that you can break out as soon as the storm's gone and throw on your roof and have connectivity right now. And so those are big pluses. So I think there was a little miscommunication, and I'd love to clear it up right now. In the statute that we were following in the guidance, the last administration, the Biden administration, had a hierarchy of technologies. So they put fiber as the gold standard. So they said they dictated to every state and territory that the priority was fiber, period. And anything less than fiber became the second tier, and that was reliable, allowable, non-priority broadband technologies. And that was like fixed wireless, licensed fixed wireless, stuff of that nature. Sadly, they had another tier, which was even lower. And this was I gotta preface this. It was their terminology, not mine. They called it non-reliable broadband service. And that was, they grouped satellite service in with that. And so somebody had heard me saying satellite service was non-reliable broadband service. And I became hated by anyone who dealt in the satellite industry. And I just want to say it one more time. That's hard-coded and written exactly like that in the Biden administration guidance for the BEAD program. It wasn't something I came up with. The new administration, the Trump administration, dissolved that and just said each state and territory has to decide what's priority. It took a tech neutral basis. He said, if you're in the mountains of Colorado and it's going to cost you $1 million to run a fiber cable up to that mountain, the federal government shouldn't force the Colorado Broadband Office to run fiber for $1 million. It made total sense. when there are other options available. And so that's what that was all about. And so I hope that clears it up for all the people that are in the satellite industry that have like pin dolls of me, and they're just poking me left and right with the voodoo doll stuff or burning my effigies. I'm not a hater of any broadband technology. I love it all. I've accessed it all. I've used it all. I've deployed it all. Going back to geosatellites on outer islands of Yap. And so I think there's a place for everything, and they all deserve to be accessible to the CNMI. And so any technology that's out there, the broadband office will embrace, and we'll find a way to make it work. Now getting back to the map. Sorry, Brett.
That's all right. And you can tell them, hey, if they want to deploy that satellite out to all of the folks north of Saipan, you can even, like, if they give it all for free, we'll rename Mog to Musk, and they can have exactly what they want.
It's so affordable now. So that's the good thing. So like I said before, when it was, you were reliant on geosatellites, the cost and the speeds of that were so extremely high, and the speeds were so slow that it was something that almost was not worth the effort in a sense, but it still was good because you have some connectivity rather than none. But nowadays, man, the technology on Leo, and they got Amazon coming in with their version of Amazon Leo, and you got all these different flavors. I think that technology is just going to increase, and it's going to be a godsend. It's already a godsend to anyone living in an extremely remote location, including on these 3 other islands, Saipan, Tinian, and Rota, not the northern islands. There's a use case for it, and I think it should be used.
Well, I'm not opposed to it at all, because I am I'm really excited about what's available and what could be coming. Look at all those dots. That's the whole thing. All those, everyone's either unserved or underserved. Is there anyone who's just like, yeah, they're served?
So the truth is, along the way in the 3.5 years, yeah, there might be some locations that were served. For our purpose, what we did is we factored out anything that would be considered quote unquote served. Maybe they already have an underground fiber connection. There are some people that do. Like in the last 3.5 years, some of the providers have been laying fiber to certain locations, and so those have been removed from the map. So right now, the way it looks from the cleanup of the FCC data and the challenge processes along the way, we started at a little over 10,000 locations, and we're just under 10,000 now that have to be deployed end-to-end fiber. And so what this map does is it just shows all the different locations that are in the map and in the data that have now executed subgrant contracts to provide end-to-end fiber to these locations. And so it's pretty cool. I mean, you can see like where the denser populations are, but if you notice, like there are unserved locations as far as the northern part of Saipan, right? So that's pretty cool. That means there's going to be an underground fiber connection going all the way out there. And so what that does is it opens up, once that's secured and once that's there. In the past, I think what the providers had to do for cellular service out there is they put cows, cellular on wheels, and they'd roll them up to a hill and they'd tie them to a generator and they put them there. The truth is now they'd be able to tap into this fiber and just put up a permanent tower structure up there, perhaps.
I thought you were joking because of all the cows that are up there in Marpi. I thought you were saying they just put them on cows, and I was waiting for the other thing that didn't. You had to spell it out: cellular on wheels. All right. Well,
I love it.
I thought you were joking. And
then if you look, we're all the way down as south as the southern tip of Rota. Mm-hmm. So we'll have fiber across all of the CNMI when this project's said and done. And so just something to look forward to. On the transparency side, we will have a subgrant portal, monitoring portal with a public-facing side. We have our broadband website is there with the subgrant agreements and the exhibits. Well, we also have broadband maps on our website. We'll have a specific one for the BEAD project because now the BEAD project lives on its own and moves forward that way. Wow. Where the public can go on and these little orange and red lights will turn green as they're connected. And so people will be able to see as we light up the locations with broadband service, true broadband service. So that'll be something cool for the public. And then, like I said, this is the BEAD program. The Broadband Policy and Development Office has many other programs. We got stumbled a little bit on a project we were running to get laptops in the hands of veterans in Manamco. And so we still have that project going. There was a procurement issue. We were trying to secure the laptops through procurement, and we weren't able to get within the ceiling of the budget that we had available. And so we had to go back to the drawing boards and run another bid process, ITV, for that. We still weren't able to get the technology we wanted for the price we were at after the second run. I'm just going to be frank. And so what we're doing now is we're right before the storm, we're going through a third process with procurement. Local procurement gave us another option, GSA. And so we might use the GSA service to get the laptops, or we will now. And so we just got a little stumbled because of the storm. Everybody's kind of recouping and re-getting through. But at the end of the day, the hope is, or the focus is, we're going to get the laptops through GSA and then get those out to the veterans in the Manamco. There might be a little silver lining. At least none of them were damaged by the storm. So that's good. But apologies to any of the veterans or the Manamcos that have been patiently waiting. This is a focus of ours. It's a big priority for the governor to get these laptops out to everyone. We haven't forgotten it. It's just procurement was a little bit more of a challenge than we thought. But like I said, it's impossible, but it'll just take a little bit more time.
You can't see it, but I'm holding it up right now in front of the camera, my voucher. This is my voucher for the laptop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and people do ask about them. They're like, I guess it's going to be a while for that. But now that's a great update. That's a bonus update that I thought we would get like from the Veterans Affairs side, but instead we got it from you because that makes great sense. They were able to work that arrangement because of you guys.
Veterans Affairs has been such a great partner. Just so everybody knows, we reached out to them and they just came on board right away with. We were just looking for an entity, and there was a prime entity to do the distribution, and they came up with the voucher system. We were all for that. That'll streamline once the distribution comes in. We don't end up with a line of 1,000 people trying to get laptops. Everybody's got their voucher. They'll get a call. They'll come in and pick them up. So once we get to fruition of getting the laptops there and getting them handed out, it'll be a nice, smooth process. There is also within the Veterans Affairs Office, we were able to fund a digital navigator. So Tristan's out there, if anybody's in need of those services, even before the laptop comes, I think he made himself accessible. Getting a login, .gov ID and all that kind of crap is a little difficult. So if anybody needs help, definitely reach out. You can use others' laptops and stuff until you get yours. But we're still intent and we're still moving forward. It was just there was no issue with funding, no issue with anything. It was just the procurement process wasn't working out the way we had hoped. So that's that update. I can give you one more update, Brad, because it was something that also got impacted by the storm. And that is we also had another project under BPD's roof, and that's Safe Space. We're going to put these Safe Space pods in the library, NMTI and NMC. We still are intent on doing that. We did go through the procurement process. I believe they did already select the winner for that. It's just getting done, but the storm did slow down, I think, their ability to move forward with procuring the Safe Space pods and install them. But at some point that'll be available too. And what it'll be is, I think the library had their own grant as well and had some of them there. They're just little cubicles that people can go into. And if you don't have a safe space at home to use the internet for health or private matters online, you can go to these community anchor institutions and use these little, almost like a phone booth to set up shop and do your video conferencing or whatever else you need to do. And so we'll be expanding that as well. And so that's kind of where the broadband office stands today.
That's great. And I was just looking at that map that's on there. It's the Street View satellite imagery, light minimal cameras, and BSL. I imagine that stands for Brad Shulin, is what that is. No,
that's a new foundation.
It's a new foundation.
When do I get my scholarship from you?
You're gonna get your scholarship, and I'll start up the new sports complex and all that other stuff. It's not going to be nearly as cool as the TSL, which is way better. than the BSL.
You are awesome, brother. You are awesome.
Hey, so this is great. I really appreciate the update. Super thorough, and look forward to hearing more about it too, because like this is such a big deal for us out here. And I mean, it would be for anywhere, but because this, I mean, you are part of a brand new entity and a brand new massive award that's going to really bring a new level of infrastructure out here. And you had to fight, and you got to win. And a fight that was worth fighting to get everybody, to get the Commonwealth that most resilient structure that they can get for this. So, well done. It took a few hits along the way, but I think you did a great job, man.
Thank you so much, Brad. And it wasn't me. It was the whole office, the administration, everybody. It was just I did say, like, I totally forgot. I came on, I started rambling with you, but I do want to say, like, just thank you so much to the late governor and the current governor for their support and their advocacy and their championing these causes, but also to the other broadband offices. We meet, I want to say like 3 times a week. We meet with the territory offices of American Samoa and Guam religiously, and we exchange ideas, and we try and, everybody encounters different issues. That's the other thing. I like the wisdom that I gained from this 3.5 years. I just want to share it with all other government agencies. Working together with other territories has been a tremendous support to me. And if you're not already doing that, I encourage you, reach out. I mean, we see the GPA working with CUC after every storm. It would be, I don't know how, if they keep that coordination up throughout the year on a regular basis, but it would be something really cool to be able to do. I think one of their former DOI person, Pamela Mathis, reached out to me and said there's like a group of power or something. And so she's going to give me a little bit of insight into that. But I think that networking with other broadband offices for us was instrumental in us getting through all the challenges and getting to this point. And then the guidance by the NTIA, we were blessed. Like when I came on board, I was like, if I'm going to tell the feds what it's like to be on the islands and, all these issues that we deal with, like the storm, they need to see it firsthand. And I demanded. It was pretty bad. I took 3 no's to get the BEAD director to come to this island. So we got her on a plane. We got her out here 3 years ago, brought her to Tinian, brought her like out to this island. So she got boots on the ground, got to see it, see, the challenge, the remoteness, everything we had to deal with. And so that was such a unique opportunity. And it was really cool. It was full circle having her on the video conference the other day, witnessing the signing of the subgrant agreement. So yeah, that's another thing, is just getting advocates on the federal government side, bring them out here, make sure they get boots on the ground, make sure they know we are not the same as the other states, and hell, we're not even the same as the other territories. But yeah, thanks to all those people. And then of course the broadband team, they've been just a tremendous asset. Just having them there is just these souls that really give a damn. Yeah. And we're blessed.
This is mostly about bringing all those homes and businesses connections. But how about that Google landing thing in Tinian?
Got it. So let me unshare my screen. I don't know if you got enough time, but we'll see. So the Google project was another one that was near and dear to the former governor's heart. The late Governor Palacios, when he stood up this office, the one thing he wanted to do more than anything was create a sorry, let me get the map up. I'm juggling. Was create a foundation, a digital foundation that could be built on for creating a new, diversifying the economy and creating a digital economy out here. And so everybody throws around the word digital economy. Sure, yeah. I mean, a good example of a place that really was able to move forward with developing a digital economy, at least on scale, was someplace like Singapore, for example. And one of the things that is noticeable about Singapore is they invested heavily early on in connectivity to the rest of the world through submarine cables and other connectivity options. And what that did is it created a hub for Asia, right? They became just like before, where they did it with the ports, where Singapore became such a trading hub. And that's what helped them way back in the day. And Hong Kong did the same thing. Is they decided, well, hell, this is no different. Let's create these ports for broadband connectivity or for internet connectivity. And they did that. And in doing so, they were able to kind of corner the market in Asia on data centers, data development, everybody that had anything to do with digital development there did it. And if you look at the West Coast, Silicon Valley, stuff like that, you have the same thing happening out there. There are people that migrate to places where they have a solid foundation terrestrially on the location they're at. So you make sure that you have a solid digital connection from your home, but then you also want a solid, quick, reliable connection to the rest of the world. And when reliability at that stage usually is dictated by multiple redundant connections. So having one connection to the rest of the world, what happens if it goes down in your finance, you're a FinCEN and data center or something like that, you lose connectivity to your clients. And so when I was talking with the late governor about that, he said, hey, we really have a big problem here. We have our connection to the rest of the world has a single point of failure, and that's Guam. We connect. Everybody here remembers back in 2014, 2015, around that time when we lost connection to Guam.
Yep.
Yeah.
It happened while I was on my way back from the Pacific Games. I had just started about a month and a half prior with CUC. And I was on my way back, and I couldn't make it back, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Yeah. It was an experience to live through. If you were running a business, you couldn't take credit card transactions. Landlines were affected because they were so reliant on backbone connectivity through these submarine cables. And at the time, we only had one cable. It was the Marianas Guam cable that ran, daisy chained along the islands down south to Guam. So when that got severed, we lost full connectivity. So, of course, at the time, just like after a storm, everybody's hands go up and they say, hey, we got to fix this. We got to fix this quick. And the fix, in my opinion, was a little short-sighted. And I'm not knocking anyone. We definitely need redundancy. But what they did was they put another cable, the ATISA cable got thrown up, and it was exactly the same thing. It was a single connection to Guam. So now instead of having one connection to Guam, we have two connections to Guam. But God forbid something catastrophic, knock on wood. I love Guam. I'm so thankful for everybody in Guam. Shout outs to everyone out there. But God forbid something catastrophic ever happens in Guam, we lose full connectivity. Like that's a dire circumstance in today's world that affects health. It affects commerce. It affects national security. And so one of the first things late Governor Palacios did is he kind of did something different. He wrote to the Secretary of State, and at the time it was Blinken, and he said, hey, we got a serious situation out here that needs correcting ASAP. And that situation is a single point of failure for our connection to the rest of the world. And they jumped to everybody so long story short, that was a catalyst and one of the little things at the time. They were they were funding a feasibility study, they being the United States, the federal government, and they were funding a feasibility study for what they called the Connect Pacific cable system. It was a little triangle that connected American Samoa to Guam to Hawaii and back down. And so it created this, what we were all just calling like a trusted, secure communication channel of connectivity across of undersea cables. Jump till today, when we did that, I think it showcased that there was a broader connectivity issue across the Pacific, and everything just aligned. There was a gentleman, like Google had their sites prior to about 4 or 5 years ago. Hyperscalers like Meta and Google and AWS and Cloudflare, they didn't own the submarine cables that they transported data on. Those cables were all conglomerates, like the CUS cable that connects Micronesia, like other cables that go through our region right now. Those are owned by a variety of different businesses. They all chip in, and it's a development of a cable, and then they provide service to the hyperscalers, and that's how they make their money back. What Google decided to do was they were transporting large amounts of data all across the world. They decided, why don't we just develop our own subsea network? And they called it Pacific Connect. And thankfully, the guy at the head on the Google side that I was dealing with lived down in Fiji, I believe it was, for a while, or out in the Pacific. And he had a personal passion. He saw firsthand the connectivity woes of the Pacific Islanders. And so he had this personal vision of connecting all of the Pacific to undersea cables, so that every Pacific island had the same connectivity as anywhere else in the world. And so it was in his mind, this was his passion. And so if you look on your screen, this is his passion in a matter of, I swear it's been like 4 years or 5 years since his inception on this Pacific Connect initiative is what he called it, the PCI. And so what it started out with was maybe it was 3 nodes for sure. It was Guam, American Samoa, I'm sorry, Guam, Fiji, and French Polynesia. And so that they shifted the triangle. They made it more vast that way, and it would have the accessibility to other Pacific islands along the way, right? So if you shift that triangle that was first going to be Hawaii, American Samoa, Guam, if you shift it and you do the triangle between Guam, Fiji, and French Polynesia, you end up with this large triangle that covers almost all of the Central Pacific, right? And so from those cables, you could do what they call branching units, little tethers from the main cables to connect everybody along the way, right? And since then, it has expanded. It expanded to recently, about a year ago, they included Hawaii. And so where that becomes really important is for redundancy as well and reliability. So now if you look at this map I'm showing you, these are all the cables that are part of the PCI. There are these 5 main cable systems that all connect. Basically, if you look at it, it's incredible connectivity. It connects the United States, it connects to South America, it connects to Australia, it connects to Singapore and Taiwan and Japan and Philippines. And so basically what you have is extreme connectivity, all crisscrossing. You can see it right there. It's what they call a box and cross pattern. It's the most reliable way you can set up an undersea or network system. So if any of those cables were severed, say the one between Guam and Hawaii, you can still get to Hawaii going down to French Polynesia and back up to Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like, you don't lose connectivity unless a multitude of cables are all severed at the same time. And so what this showcases is, again, someone's passion and vision. They said, we're just going to do it. These are all cables that are owned by Google. They're cables that are in progress or already in service. So for some of these, they've already started landing, like TPU has already landed in some areas. That's the Taiwan, Philippine, United States cable. The PROA is a big one that's near and dear to our heart because we were able to get in connection with Google early on, and we were able to ask them if, when building these structures at the time, because redundancy is so important to these hyperscalers, at every landing point, at every node, they were going to do 2 facilities for redundancy. So if one goes down, the other one's still up. And so we were able to talk to them at the time and get them to consider, hey, do you think instead of putting both of those locations on Guam, you could perhaps put one in the CNMI somewhere? And they've been, and we've been working for the last 3.5 years on that as well. And that's, if you look at all of these main subsea systems, like the PROA, when it comes down from Japan, it lands in Guam, but it splits over here and it also lands. So everything would be what they call a split landing. So should anything happen to Guam, that cable system stays up because it's also landing in the CNMI. Same goes with TPU. It'll split and land in Guam, but it also lands in the CNMI. Same goes with Bulakula. That one splits here and it lands in both. And so what this would do is this provides ultimate reliability and resiliency of the Marianas node going forward. That's where we stand now. This is still a work in progress. We did sign an MOU with them. That's to do everything we can in our power to make sure this comes to fruition. This is an impossible task, and therefore it is going to take some time, but we're working on it. There have been hiccups. There have been challenges, just like the BEAD project. There are forces out there that, for whatever reason they have, and everybody has their own reason. I'm not ignorant to the fact that there are other priorities at stake here for other territories and for other individuals. Mm-hmm. Politics plays into it. And so this project right now is still a work in progress. We're still hoping that we're on track. We've been in contact with Google directly. There have been some issues on their side as well, as far as when you build out a system like this and you expand to adding in new nodes and adding in new things and the costs start to skyrocket. So I don't even know what the cost of this whole subsea system is at this point. It's probably like in the neighborhood of $20 billion or something, who knows? but so costs end up becoming an issue. So we're still hoping. I mean, it's still this map that I'm showing you right now, Brad, is submarine cable maps. It's accessible to everyone. These cables show up when the people building them tell the submarine cable map system that they're building them. And so they're still on as far as the submarine cable map and telegeography is concerned, looking to move forward with this project. I'm hopeful that we get a landing of PROA towards the end of this year or early next year. I've reached out to Google. The storm has been a big factor, and it's going to be a big factor going forward. But I'll give you updates as we go. But this is the vision. This is the hope. Is that, and no matter what CNMI's participation is in on this in the end, like let's say budget constraints get on and they're going to have to kick the ball down the road to get those other ones landed in the CNMI for the next five years, it's still something we should aggressively work towards. And if we could land PROA, that gives us the first Trans-Pacific cable landing in the CNMI. And so that's what we're really hoping for. And it gives us the redundancy we need. So if anything catastrophic ever happens in Guam, guess what? We have the PROA that we can hop on. It also opens up the CNMI to competition. Anybody else that wants to come in the area and utilize connectivity won't be limited to the two cables that connect Guam. The truth is, most people, if you're going to do a big development out here, a data center or something, and you're looking at U.S. Land, you're going to probably look towards Guam, because Guam has, if I scroll in here, Jesus, they have about 14 or 16 cables landing on Guam already. All this, the kind of faded stuff are existing cables that are landing on Guam already. So they're fully saturated with submarine cable landings in Guam, and they have become a hub in the Pacific. And they do have high-end data centers there. So what we're able to offer is, if we can get some submarine cable landings here, we can offer a redundancy aspect with Guam. So should they encounter some catastrophic storm or something of that nature, the Marianas is also, the CNMI is also part of the U.S., and we also will have the similar connectivity options. And we're just a stone's throw from Asia, which is a big market to a lot of the people that are storing data. And so that's kind of our goal. If you build it, they'll come. If we can get the terrestrial fiber to the home done, and we can get the submarine fiber to our islands done, you end up with the Rolls Royce of connectivity, and you position the CNMI to truly be a player in the digital front. I think we already are today, just so you know, because we already have these things in fruition and it's already coming to play. So right now, I put out a call to everybody who's watching across the world: come and do business in the CNMI. If you're looking at anything on the digital front, come on out here and start like making your agreements, getting your land dealings done. Work with our local government and CETA on getting your the incentive programs in place. I know they're actively putting the call out there to the rest of the world. So if I could use your forum today, Brad, that would be a big factor. Is the whole purpose of this is to set up a foundation that can be built upon by people that are much smarter than me, and people that have ideas that are much more grand than we had. We built the ballpark. Now come and play ball. Change it. Put a pickleball court up if you want. We could care less. Do what you want to do on this thing and set it up and use it. And so that's where we stand. I hope that kind of makes some sense, Brad.
Yeah, now we got to cue the Jefferson Starship, and we built this city. And hey, this was a great update, and I'll tell you, I look forward to getting you back again, talk more about some of the other stuff, the great stuff that's happening out here. And it's exciting stuff. There's new stuff happening. There's just so much of it, and maybe we'll just take it in smaller bites. But it was just so great to have you on. And by the way, doing this remotely, where you can put that stuff on the screen, is really helpful. If you guys come back here, and you give me a heads up that you're coming, I can patch that in to to our screen stuff too, so that if you're sitting here on your computer, on your laptop or something, it would just be wired in as like an external display. So either way, this works. This works great for us. So thanks.
I would rather be in the office with you, where I could give you a hug and thank you for everything you're doing, Brad. I thanked other people, but I really got to say this so much. Like, you're a breath of fresh air in the morning. You've been there through the years. You pivoted at some point and you decided you were going to make this your thing. You are a success in and of yourself on what you've been able to do, which is providing coverage across the CNMI and across the world, even for what's going on out here, and that's so important. The one thing that I champion more than anything, and everybody will understand this, it's not anti-corruption, anti-this, anti-whatever. It's active citizenry, and that requires that pillar, the pillar that you provide. That's communication of what's going on and giving people a venue to share their voices. And I've loved it. I've loved watching you evolve, grow. It has been, I can't say it enough, Brad, you and the other organizations like yours that are doing this. It is not easy. Like, I've tried it. I tried blogs in the past. I tried the retirement fund blog when that was an issue. I tried the environmental blog when that was an issue. I tried everything you can do to try and get the word out there to people so that you can encourage active citizenry and kind of kill the apathy that tends to kind of set in when people just feel there's nothing they can do. The truth is, every citizen here, every person in the CNMI has a voice, and you amplify that voice, Brad. And thank you so much. I hope people take advantage of your forum the way they have been and continue to do so. It's the only way we're going to get better. I keep seeing these new people coming out of the woodwork with, how do we end corruption? How do we get to a better place? It's great. It's this great think tank. Nobody's idea is wrong. And you would tell that to me, because I was used to be black and white. We used to get into headbutts. Just have your heart in the right place, have a passionate idea, bring it to a forum of other passionate individuals, kick it around a bit. And then guess what? You got the motor to get it done. And you've shown that, Brad. Like, thank you so much for providing this forum and doing everything you do. It is well appreciated. And I know you probably, like, I'm pretty sure you are not compensated enough for what you do. And so if I can, I just want to compensate you with thanks, accolades, and praise. But keep doing what you're doing, and thank you so much for what you do.
Thanks. That is awesome. That is really pretty sweet, man. Thank you. I love doing this. That's it. And the cool thing is, and I'll tell you this story. I heard this from Maya Coram. She talked about one of the things that she loved most about the CNMI is how people have the ability to reinvent themselves as many times as it takes, as many times as they want. And one of the things that I've appreciated about being here is that one person can really make a difference. Like, if you're passionate about it, you want to do it, you can. And for me, the CNMI has been a place where I could really grow and figure things out and see exactly what I want to do and find out how I can, really, do something like this. So this is it. And by the way, so this broadband stuff that you're doing works great for me, because this is the first all digital anything here in the CNMI, and we couldn't do this stuff without high-speed broadband. We couldn't do it without and this goes back to before, like, so this, when we started this full time a couple years ago, but even before we did that, going back like 4 years, when Jojo and I were sitting there talking about, like, let's do the parade. Like, let's figure it out. We reached out to IT&E and said, hey, can you hook us up? We want to broadcast a parade because nobody's doing it. And so we did it. And you know how much we got paid for that? No, nothing. $0.00. When we went to IT&E, same thing. And you're going to hear the IT&E stuff again because they're our partners too. But, hey, we want to start doing baseball. What do you think? Yeah, we'll hook you up. So we got fiber up at the booth. And we've been broadcasting for 4 years baseball here in the CNMI. And you know how much we were getting paid for that? Nothing. And one of the reasons, it's like, because the technology's there and the passion's there. Everybody can use the stuff they like to do, whether it's talking into a microphone or teaching kids how to work cameras and all that other stuff. And that was the thing. So we weren't standing by waiting for someone to just be able to pay us to do it. We just knew it was something cool to do out here. And that was it. And so from doing all that, that's where all this stuff grew. And then eventually, then some money started coming. And it was like what you said, if you build it, they will come. And that's how it is.
And I severely overlooked that aspect of it. Like, the truth is, you are the poster child of what we hope to get. Like, that's what it's all about. You're one of the pioneers of the digital economy out here. Like, you are the one that, in your testament, because That's the way it has to be too. We talk about agriculture out here, and everybody's like, it's impossible. You're never going to do a agricultural industry out here on scale. The truth is, somebody just has to do it, and you've done it. You threw your hat over the fence. You persevered, like you said. You did all those gigs for $0, and you showed that you're passionate. You learned. You got wisdom. You got connections, and now you're earning something from it. And then hopefully, as this grows, you end up like, the sky's the limit, and you're just. Thank you. You are a poster child to exactly what this is all about, and it's not just bringing people in from the outside. Oh, let's bring people from the outside that can do. These are residents. You're from here. This is your home, and you're looking at the opportunities that are now available and pivoting into ways that you can make a living doing that. And that's pretty damn cool. And I think other people are doing it like through social media platforms and different things like that. Like, it's just cool to watch. And it's just gonna, if we could, thank you, Brad. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. You are one of the forerunners and the forerunner when it comes to a full digital business, like you said, in launching it and doing it. So that's pretty damn cool.
It is cool. Anyway, but it's only cool because I got people like you on the show. So that'll probably wrap us up a little bit for today. We got a full slate to go on for the rest of the day too. Maybe any parting little messages to the folks out there in the CNMI?
This was a show where I was kind of excited to talk about, all the advancements that we're making on the broadband front with future development. The truth is our CNMI is still immensely affected by the super typhoon that hit us. Prior to the storm, we really hadn't even recovered from COVID. We hadn't recovered from the last storm before that. We hadn't even recovered from solar. We've just been in a world of hurt out here. My parting sentiment is I hope that this show and my emotions don't negate or seem to like frost over the fact that I'm going on 36 days without power at my house. There are people going on 36 days without a home. That is a reality. And so I'll use your platform here, Brad. All the help that we've received up until this point has been so appreciated, both locally and from across the world. It has been a blessing to see. The one thing that I kept thinking in my head, and this is terrible, is that we've gotten so accustomed to these natural disasters, these big ones like the storms, the COVID, that the reaction is almost second nature, I think. When Sodelor hit us, that came out of the blue a decade after the last major storm, right, hit us. And so it was like learning. Everybody's like, what do we do now? I don't know. People need water. Let's see what we can do. And there was no, I didn't know what VOAD was. I didn't find out what VOAD was until it must have been week 3 or week 2 in that Sodelor after experience where this guy, Michael Curran from FEMA, contacted me and said, hey, you guys are doing great work. You want to be part of VOAD? And I was like, wait, you have a what? And so now when this storm hit, the silver lining is those things are in place. Those connections have already been made. There's a lot of nonprofits like United for Saipan and other nonprofits that are grassroots efforts that didn't even wait. They just instinctively like, oh, it's clear. Let's go out and check our neighbors. Mm-hmm. Who does that? Like you never see that anywhere else, but we're just so accustomed to it. And then they got together. You got Madge that's just doing amazing stuff. You've seen her, and I think you've featured her. There's so many Peeling's kids out there in Guam, like just so many people doing so much. So I just want to say the CNMI is still in a world of hurt. I'm sitting here, I bucket showered and got in and cleaned myself up. But the truth is there are people with no homes. There are people with no water. There are people with no roofs. There are people that are really struggling. And so any help that could be of assistance, please continue to support the CNMI. From a government perspective, we got to put our focus in on not just recovering, but also like it's a call out to everybody in government. Like, let's also try and look at how do we prevent things from being so catastrophic after the next one, right? That's going to take a group effort. That's going to take public pressure. That's going to take political will. And so let's all use the powers that we have. Like you said, even one person can make such a huge difference out here. It gets frustrating at times, but lean on one another and then just keep supporting it. We're going to get through this for sure. We always do. It's just a matter of how do we learn from this? It's that Einstein thing, right? We just keep doing the same thing over and over again. We're crazy. How do we learn from it? How do we move forward stronger? How do we, that's my party message. I don't know. I ramble.
No, that's great. And, it's good just to remember. I mean, you look around, over my shoulder, you can't see it because, again, we don't have the camera on you. But, you just see the skeleton of trees, and you can see that there's still tin in the trees. There's still stuff like that all around. You're going past all these piles of all this stuff. No matter how nice we try to spruce ourselves up for the show or something, it's still everybody's doing that. We left a place with no power this morning to come out here, and we have it better than a lot of people, because we still have a roof. That's it. I mean, that's just how it is. And there's so many people and so many challenges. But yeah, we're not going to lose that perspective. And we know that there is going to be another storm. We don't know when. We don't know what, and how big it's going to be or anything. But we're.
I think it's your Nino. Your Nino's something. He's bringing something. They said a storm or something.
Yes,
the Island Brothers were talking about your Nino or whatever,
which is Spanish for the Nino. So anyway. That's what we got for you today, folks. We're going to get you guys the latest. I do have another news update, and I got some sports. Glenn, I want to say thanks for popping in this morning and spending a ton of time with us. And then to everybody who's over there at your office, we normally get them, but today we got you. We got the head honcho. Normally,
today you got the big mouth. Usually you got the brains and the passion. Today you got the big mouth.
Hey, it takes all kinds. Hey, thanks so much for being with us today. Say hi to your mom. Hey, say hi to your mother for me. Say hi to her. Hopefully she's watching.
Will do.
All right.
Will do.
Take care.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
Love you.
Love you too, brother. All right. So we're going to get you guys, while we're here, we will get you the latest update from the Associated Press. And we also got a sports update for you and everything. We got all kinds of stuff. So don't run away yet. We got something for you right here.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. In Southern California, we're getting a clearer picture of what took place at the Islamic Center of San Diego, where gunmen opened fire. San Diego Police Chief Scott Wall.
We have our 2 suspects that are deceased. We have 3 victims at the Islamic Center. All 3 are adults, for a total of 5 people that are deceased.
Wall says both suspects are believed to be teenagers, and he adds,
"We are considering this a hate crime."
That sound courtesy KGTV. In a social media post, President Trump has announced he's holding off on a military strike on Iran because, in his words, serious negotiations are underway. Sagar Magani has more.
The president had not publicly mentioned a military strike tomorrow, but on social media he now says it's on hold at the request of Mideast allies. Still, the president says he's told the Pentagon to be ready for a full large-scale assault on a moment's notice if no acceptable deal is reached. He had warned Tehran the clock was ticking for it to make a deal. Iran's foreign ministry shrugged off the president's threats this morning, saying Tehran is well-versed on how to respond. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Uncertainty over the Iran war situation led to more gyrations for oil prices. Brent crude settled above $112 per barrel, but fell back below $109 after Trump's statement. The Trump administration's announced the creation of a $1.7 billion fund to pay Trump allies who say the Biden Justice Department mistreated them. And in Congo, an American doctor is now among the newly confirmed cases of a rare type of Ebola virus. 3 treatment centers are being opened in the eastern Ituri province, and the World Health Organization is sending in a team of experts. The outbreak has killed more than 110 people so far. This is AP News.
AP Sports, I'm Gethin Coolbaugh. The New Orleans Pelicans have hired Jamal Mosley as their new head coach following his dismissal by the Orlando Magic on May 4th. NFL, an AP source says former Jacksonville Jaguars coach Urban Meyer lost his multi-million-dollar arbitration case against the team that fired him with cause in 2021. 42-year-old and 4-time NFL MVP QB Aaron Rodgers returned to the practice field with the Steelers for voluntary OTAs after after signing a one-year deal to return. Adam Scott is officially set for his 100th consecutive major at next month's U.S. Open, which added 24 players from the world ranking after the PGA Championship. This week in sports history, Lucy Lee becomes the youngest player to qualify for the U.S. Women's Open at 11 years old in 2014. More sports news at apnews.com. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
After Super Typhoon Sinlaku, recovery isn't just about rebuilding homes and clearing debris. It's about taking care of each other. It's normal to feel stress, fear, or sadness during recovery. Healing isn't a straight path. Take it one day at a time. Acknowledge your feelings. Stay connected with family and neighbors. Build small daily routines. And if it gets overwhelming, reach out. Seeking support is a sign of strength. NM Posse's PIME program is here for CNMI residents. Call 670-235-7273 or 670-789-6021 or visit nmposse.org. Together we rebuild, and together we heal. You are stronger than the storm. Message from NM Posse's PIME program, paid for by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
If you see something, say something, and stay anonymous. Call Crime Stoppers at 234-7272 or submit a tip online at nmicrimestoppers.com. No names, no caller ID, no recordings, just your info. And if your tip leads to an arrest, you could earn up to $1,000 in cash. Your tips have helped take hundreds of criminals off the streets in the NMI. It works because of you. Crime Stoppers, we want your information, not your name. PHI is your local pharmacy serving customers in Cagman, Garapan, and Dandan since 1996. Shop PHI Pharmacy for all your prescriptions, and we even offer a large line of multivitamin supplements. Our Dandan location is open weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 4 on weekends. Or visit our Garapan and Cagman locations weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 1 on Saturdays. Check us out online at phipharmacy.com or follow us on Facebook. PHI is a locally owned independent community Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Hey bro, can I grab your bush?
Yeah man, go for it.
Right on. Thanks bro. Hey bro, can I grab your bush too?
Sure bro, go ahead.
Thanks.
Now I can grab my own bush. Saipan, it's time to grab your bush. Pick up a 12-pack of ice-cold Bush, and you're in for more than just a refreshing beer. Every 12-pack gives you a chance to win exclusive Bush gear and more. So don't wait. Swing by your favorite store, grab your Bush, and join the fun. Because here in Saipan, the best moments are even better with Bush. Grab your Bush today.
If you think girls and women's equality matter, stand up. If girls and women's sports matter, and you want your daughters to have the same opportunity you had, stand up. If you know that it isn't fair or safe to allow males to compete in girls' sports, because it's, well, obvious, stand up. Don't be cowed by people who call you a bigot. You're not a bigot. Don't let men tell us how to be good girls. Don't let others tell you you just need to be quiet. Sit down. Be nice. It's not nice to further a lie. It's not mean to believe in women's equality. We deserve our own sports, privacy, fairness, safety. We deserve a chance to compete and win. So don't be nice. Don't be careful. Be honest. Be brave. Fight for women. We've come too far to give up now.
And if you agree with that, stand up and stand with us.
Fox Sports Update.
Quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden, the Knicks, the Eastern Conference Finals, Jared. After silencing this crowd here in Game 7, what are you expecting in that environment on Tuesday?
Yeah, we know it's going to be a loud environment, and we know that their fans are incredible fans, crazy fans, but we know that we can do it. We came to an incredible arena like this and took over the game. We just have to do it again.
Jarrett Allen of the Cleveland Cavaliers with Prime Video after he scored 23 points in Game 7 in Detroit last night to help the Cavaliers complete an upset of the Pistons, who had the best record of the Eastern Conference in the regular season, but were unable to survive a second Game 7 in these playoffs. Detroit blown off its home court by Cleveland, which was up 9 points after one quarter last night, and won Game 7 by 31, 125-94. Donovan Mitchell scored 26 points for the Cavaliers, who will play in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 8 years. Game 1 against the New York Knicks tomorrow in New York. The Knicks won 2 of 3 regular season meetings. The Spurs beat the reigning champion Thunder in 4 out of 5 games in the regular season. Still, San Antonio the underdog in the Western Conference Finals versus Oklahoma City. Game 1 is tonight in OKC. Second year in a row, Thunder guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander named most valuable player in the NBA. The 14th player to win consecutive awards. He finished with 939 total voting points. Second was the Nuggets' Nikola Jokic with 634 points. Gilgeous-Alexander received 83 out of 100 first-place votes. Another Game 7 tonight, Stanley Cup playoffs, Eastern Conference semifinals in Buffalo. The Sabres will host the Canadiens for the right to move into the Eastern Conference Finals versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Golf, Aaron Rai from England won the PGA Championship by 3 strokes Sunday over John Rahm and Alex Smalley. First major title for Rai. Rory McIlroy finished tied for 7th at 4 under par. It's Game On with the Fox Sports app, available wherever you download apps. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
If you see something, say something, and stay anonymous. Call Crime Stoppers at 234-7272 or submit a tip online at nmicrimestoppers.com. No names, no caller ID, no recordings, just your info. And if your tip leads to an arrest, you could earn up to $1,000 in cash. Your tips have helped take hundreds of criminals off the streets in the NMI. It works because of you. Crime Stoppers, we want your information, not your name. PHI is your local pharmacy serving customers in Cagman, Garapan, and Dandan since 1996. Shop PHI Pharmacy for all your prescriptions, and we even offer a large line of multivitamin supplements. Our Dandan location is open weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 4 on weekends. Or visit our Garapan and Cagman locations weekdays from 8 to 6 and 8 to 1 on Saturdays. Check us out online at phipharmacy.com or follow us on Facebook. PHI is a locally owned independent community Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
We're bringing heat today, so let's get excited. Woke up and smiled, the sun shining. Let the sun shine in. Got dreams to chase and a world to win. Turn up the radios, dance today. And let's dance through the day. Feel the vibe in the air. Come on, let's play. We live in love, making waves as we go. With every heartbeat, it's an endless show. We're living bright, let the music ignite. Good morning, Marianas. Let's shine tonight. La 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 la.
Alrighty, Marianas, that's just about it for us. You have a great day. We'll have different stories for you throughout the day. We got more stuff coming in. In fact, just getting... Excuse me, a hiccup. We're just getting news now about an outage that's going to be here in Saipan for water in San Vicente. And another hiccup, apparently not having water gives me the hiccups. It's portions of San Vicente. We're going to put this out for you now, and they are going to have some issues with the Papago water tank. They needed to regain normal water levels. Apparently, there was some sort of a leak that ended up happening that they needed to repair. So the folks on dealing with water over there in San Vicente, and let me just see which side that is exactly. Is that by the church? Yeah, all the folks who are up on the hillside of San Vicente are going to be without power for a while today. said water service interruption from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's what it's going to be, and so we're going to get it out there to you so you can start to fill it up elsewhere and come back. Once they finally do get it on, they're saying please allow 1 to 2 hours for the lines to pressurize fully, and then they will be good to go. But right now, they are trying to get it done for you today. All right, so that's it. That's the last thing that we got for you. We will be back again tomorrow morning from Good Morning Marianas, unless something else interesting happens today, and then we'll be there for you too. First, we're always there. Take care.